Just like it's really hard to recover from an eating disorder when you're restricting, I think it's also really hard to recover from an eating disorder when you're body checking so much and you're still trying to figure out how to get your body to look a certain way. I wanted to talk about body checking. So one of the main ways I body checked over the years was weighing myself. I'd weigh myself at least every day, sometimes like 30 times a day, especially after throwing up. You know, it's like I wanted to make sure that weight was the same or lower, and it's ridiculous because that weight is so much water. Like, it really doesn't make a difference. Did you know that when you eat sugar, it metabolizes almost immediately? So even if you were to throw it up, it's still in your body. But I just couldn't not get rid of it. So that weighing was something that helped me determine how I felt. When I was younger, like 14, 13, I didn't feel good. I felt like the world was telling me I wasn't good. Maybe 13 was too young, more like 14, 15. I feel like the world was telling me I wasn't good, and then I decided I wasn't good because of my weight. And I realized I couldn't determine by myself if I was okay or not. So then I turned to the scale, and the scale would then be the source that told me if I was okay. So I'd wake up and it'd be like, well, how do I feel this morning? I kind of check my body, and it's like, okay, well, let's see. And then I'd go on the scale, and then depending on what that number said, determined how I felt for the rest of the day. Was I going to feel really bad about myself and like try to restrict even harder, or was I gonna feel really good and keep restricting, right? Either way, it led to more restricting. And I can't tell you how many times I got rid of the scale. When I first started eating disorder treatment 7-ish years ago, I remember I hammered the scale and videoed it. I don't have that video anymore, or I would insert it here. And I sent it to my therapist, and I was just so proud of myself. The problem was I could always buy another scale, and I've probably bought like 15 other scales and then thrown them away. And then I'd like have my husband hide them because I didn't want to keep buying scales, but then I'd find the scale. So I stopped weighing myself about 50 days ago, which was so fucking scary. Like, how would I know how to feel about myself if I didn't have a scale? Especially in recovery, gaining weight, how would I be okay with recovery if I didn't know if I was ballooning up? And I realized that the past like 7 years I've been trying to recover, there's been so many times I've still used this scale. Like the past 2 years especially, I wanted to recover so much. I was working a program to help me recover, but I was still using the scale, and that scale, that outside source, was determining how much I should eat. And in determining how much I should eat, it was always telling me, I was interpreting it, that I should always be restricting. And it is fucking impossible, in my opinion, to restrict and recover at the same time. That's what's made this recovery feel so much different, is it's been the first time that I've had no food rules. It's really scary, and I'm still working on that, but I'm not restricting. And I'm not weighing, so I have nothing telling me like, you're getting bigger, you need to eat less. Actually, that's not true, because what I am still doing, and I'm trying so hard not to do, is body check. Like my ring, I'll use it to kind of tell how big I am. Like, it used to just slide right off, now it doesn't. Or to walk in front of a mirror and to not lift up my shirt and like poke my stomach and turn to the side. That is so hard for me not to do. I don't do it around my kids, but still, like, if I'm ever alone in front of the mirror, like 90% of the time I have to do that. I'll even tell myself, do not body check, do not body check. And the next thing I know, my shirt is up and it's like, shit. So yes, and then I also wanted to say I've started this program called Embrace You. I forget her name, it's hard for me to say, it starts with a T. She's from Australia, but she did that documentary called Embrace, and if you haven't seen it, it's amazing. She was a mom who didn't feel good about herself, so she lost a bunch of weight and joined a bikini competition, and then even in that she didn't feel good about herself, and the people in the bikini competition were also insecure, and she realized this is ridiculous. So then she gained weight and she gained her life back. And in the documentary, she also goes around in the whole world and talks to different women about their experience with beauty and being accepted in this world, and like fatism and stuff like that. So it's an amazing documentary, and she started this 4-week program called Embrace You, that's all about getting you to embrace yourself and view the toxicity that's in the world and in the media that we're being shown every day, how it's influencing us, and then helping us accept our body and even love our body more. I thought this would be a really great program for me to do since summer's coming up. So I thought instead of focusing on summer coming up and like what program should I do to get my beach body, now I can be, how can I love and accept my body as it is and have that take me into summer. So yesterday I did an assignment about noticing photoshopping in images, and I've known images are photoshopped. I've talked a lot on Instagram about how those images that we compare ourselves to in the magazines aren't even real people. There's been a lot of TED Talks done about models saying that they can't even recognize themselves once they see their self photoshopped. Excuse me. But this exercise showed 2 photos, one photoshopped, one not, and then you try to spot the difference. And then after you do, you see another photo of the before and after, but this time it shows all of the photoshops that were done. And I just cannot believe how much these images are edited. And I remember as a young girl, I loved getting magazines and just looking at all of the stick figure people, and I just wanted to look like that. And I found this old journal of me, and I had collaged a bunch of the stick figures, and I wrote like, this is so beautiful, and those people were like severely anorexic, and I was worshiping them. So it's been really helpful for me to retrain my mind to realize this goal I have at achieving isn't even those people haven't achieved that goal. And I don't want my daughter to try to go for that goal either. And I know by healing my eating disorder, not only am I going to heal myself, but it's going to really help me raise my kids in a less toxic home and to be able to support them as they're bombarded with images. There was also, I heard a study, by the age 12, a USA girl has seen over 80,000 images that tells them that they should look a certain way. 80,000 by the age they're 12.
I was so surprised by this photo of Kim Kardashian because we're told that she has this big ass and small waist, but that's been photoshopped. Her face is longer, her skin looks different, her neck is smaller. Like, same with this picture of Jennifer Lawrence. What blew my mind was her hips. Like, look at how much they narrowed her thighs, and they cinched in her waist, and they perked up her boobs, and they shortened her neck or narrowed her neck. And Britney Spears, this picture before looks like a mugshot, but they made it look like this stunning photo with their editing. They changed her hair, they made her neck smaller, they lengthened everything. And this woman, like, look at how much they've removed the creases and the softness, and they thinned everything out so much.
What has really helped me about this exercise is realizing how much these photos are edited, right? These aren't even real images. These models don't even look like these images. They've been so edited just to sell us stuff, to say, you want to look like this image that is fully created by a computer. If you want to look like this, buy our product. But then you'll never be able to look like it because the model doesn't even look like it. So this has been really helpful. So when I body check, instead of comparing myself to this image I have in my head that's been created by all of the images I've seen that have all been edited, and getting frustrated at myself because I don't look like this edited image that humans aren't even meant to look like, instead I try to think of real body types, and I've been looking at real body types. So in my social media, I've unfollowed all Fitspo, and I follow women who have the same size body as me or bigger, and I try to look at it every day, and I try to expose my eyes to these images that they haven't been seen regularly, because those over 80,000, so if a 12-year-old sees 80,000 images, I'm 30, so I've seen over 160,000 images. That's all been that edited image. So I need to constantly expose myself to what real bodies look like, so then when I go to body check, instead of comparing myself to that fake image, I can start comparing myself to other people's bodies and realize that my body is a human body, and it has softness, and it has curves, and it has cellulite, and that's a normal thing, right? And it's okay. Can I love myself and my body for what it does, for it being a vessel for my soul, and not for the way it looks? I also really like the idea of being a rebel. Like, I tried to rebel in a lot of areas of my life, hence the dreads, I think. So I kind of take it on. It's like, this is a rebellion act against all of these companies, against all these industries, against this diet culture that tells us we should look like this fucking image that is fake, instead of embracing who we really are. So I hope looking at those images helped you to realize that when you see a magazine and you think, I don't look like that, that the model doesn't either. Just like it's really hard to recover from an eating disorder when you're restricting, I think it's also really hard to recover from an eating disorder when you're body checking so much and you're still trying to figure out how to get your body to look a certain way. I've been able to recover is when I feed my body so I don't have that brain impulse to eat all of the food, and also accept that whatever size my body wants to be to function in this world is going to be the shape my body is. And it's really hard to accept my body being the size it chooses to be when I'm body checking and trying to compare if my body looks like these fake images. So that's why I'm trying so hard not to do this body checking, and that's why looking at real women's bodies, and when I look body check to try to compare myself to the real women's bodies instead of fake images, has been so helpful. I hope looking at these photos and watching this video has been helpful for you. How do you body check? How are you trying to combat body checking so that you can accept your body as it recovers? Our body is merely a vessel for our light. I try to remind myself of that so much, and that I choose mental clarity over this body fantasy that isn't even real. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. It really means so much to me to have people watching it and to know that it is hopefully helping you guys in some way. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in subscribing, I make really regular videos on my eating disorder recovery, on my ahas, on my struggles, and how I work through them, on body positivity, on self-acceptance and self-love. I'd love to have you join my channel. Okay, have a great day, you guys.